Welcome back to DMV, the show. It's been a while since we've been able to do this, Noah. I'm excited to be here. Uh, how you doing, buddy?
I'm ready to be back, giving the people what they want, or hopefully what they want. And if not, I'm excited to talk some footy. It's been too long, and even if no one listens, I still have a great time on these talking.
Yeah, man.
All the happenings and
I'm
such.
I'm too excited to be back. I feel like it's been almost 2 weeks because of my vacation and all that we haven't been able to do one of these. So there's a lot to talk about. We're gonna end the show, and I'm gonna just preface this just for the fans' sake, as much as for Noah's sake, with Super Soccer League power ranking. So put that on the back of your head, Noah, and fans. But before we dive in with all the action going on and everything going on, we're going to talk USL two, we're going to talk NPSL, we're going to talk UPSL, and then wrap up with Super Soccer League. Do make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment. DMV Sports Media is growing so fast. We are the best when it comes to coverage for footy in this area. So if you're not following us, you're absolutely doing yourself a disservice if you're following these teams. And two, to support us. Great community. Great community. All right, Noah, let's dive in. We had the kickoff. Well, I'm calling it the kickoff. NPSL started USL 2 started last weekend when I was on vacation. But the Maryland teams had their first home games this week. We were going to talk about mainly Patuxent, but Christos also had their first home game in UMBC's soccer park where they faced Charlotte's Blue. It was a 1-0 loss. Same thing with Patuxent. I know you're going to ask me this question, so go ahead and ask what you have in mind right here, because I know this is what you want to ask.
Yeah, for the people and for myself, because I did not have the pleasure of watching either of these matches. I know you got to see the Patuxent result firsthand. What were kind of the standout key points? What were your impressions of, both the home side Patuxent and away? And, you know, what gets you excited about this USL2 season?
Look, man. First of all, Patuxent, the Patuxent Virginia Beach United. By the way, I'm gonna peel back the curtain here. I said Virginia Dreams way too many times when I was referring. I'm just gonna
some
out myself
subtle,
here. So we
some
might as well.
subtle, like Freudian marketing over here, but
It was too funny, but it is what it is. We move, we keep it going. But No, that Patuxent Virginia Beach game was so fun to watch. The speed of play, the ability on the ball. It was just fantastic. What for me was a gut punch for Patuxent is they went a good portion of the game with 11 men because there was a fish thrown on behalf of the Patuxent side
shouldn't they
that
have 11 men?
sorry, 10 men, 10 men. I meant to say 10 men, 10 men, 10 men. I meant to say because one of their players, I can't remember off the top of my head who, threw a punch, got a red card, went down, and it was a moment where Patuxent had been playing defense consistently and they started to build some momentum and it was starting to take a turn for them. And then that foul comes. I'm pretty sure it was. I can't recall right now, but I think it was their right back or their center back. I can't remember. If I knew who it was, I could tell you their name. But um, swung, got contact, immediately red card. Then they were playing. It was like maybe 45 to 35 minutes of just consistent pressure. And they were playing well. Their defense was great. They weren't really giving many opportunities. Virginia Beach was just moving the ball so smoothly. Possession was great. And they were having shots. And then this one ball from Moody from Virginia, just it was over the top, found the striker, just hit it perfectly. And that's how they snuck in. And it was like a gut punch because the team was doing well. They were starting to turn around. Then they got the red card, and then they were just playing solid defense. And I mean, the old saying goes, Anything you apply anything to pressure eventually is going to break, and that's exactly what happened with Patuxent. They just at a certain point they just couldn't handle the pressure.
Yeah. That's a shame. I mean, that sounds like the second punch I've heard thrown this weekend, albeit in a different competition. I thought you were maybe mixing up the contests, but I mean, as an aside, I get the rush of blood, the competition. I know some things happen out there, players that are unacceptable. I don't know what preceded it, whether it was verbal, whether it was some kind of shady, but there's just no excuse in it, and it only hurts you and your team in the end. So I know you want to stand up for yourself, and players will say, "Well, you disrespect whatever." Nah, man. Like, if you want to fight, and I'm not saying advocating, but do it on your own time, man. Go
Yeah.
go sort that out on your own time. Go do some boxing, whatever. You know, find a way to play within the rules of the game, but physical. Like, get back. Don't go after the referees. Don't go after players with fights. I know people aren't going to listen, but it's just it's a sore point for me because I've seen it too often, and it hurts the game from the neutral fan, but obviously it hurts your own team, and it's just really bad for the game. So that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, so the red card was Amirik Maloney, and like the goal scorer was Baxter Hertz, and it was, man, it really upsets me because Patuxent was starting to find their rhythm. They were starting to turn things around because Virginia just had the ball. They were just moving it. I mean, they were doing so well. And anytime Patuxent did have the ball, they did create something, but there was a little bit of a cohesiveness that they were missing that United already had. And it just like it was starting to turn, and then the red card came and I'm like, no, like, what are you doing? It just absolutely just ruined the game for them. And then Virginia did what they needed to. I mean, those they're you know what you'll love about this Virginia United team, Noah? They love a early cross, like really early, and
Yeah,
they're always in deadly scenarios. And then the way they play it over the top on the defense, it's always from a weird angle, and it's almost like a cross, and it just puts them in a weird position. And that was what was working for them.
I'm excited to see. Yeah, if we get to cover them again, I don't know if we will, but yeah, hopefully I'll get to catch a game because that's a great style. I get so tired of the the square ball cross where you just send it across from a standard position or get it all the way to the end line, and then you got to find a way to get it through traffic. If you have that ability to send an early ball in over the top, ask the questions of the back line where they're facing their own goalkeeper. That's trouble. That's
Yeah,
that's great to
and,
see.
and they were like early balls with bends on them, so it was always like dangerous. I was like, oh my, and they would always get caught off where like they would pull everybody to the left side, and they knew they had that wide runner, and they would just play in that early deadly ball. It was a fun game, man. On the other side, Christos loses to Charlotte Blues, which for me, I didn't watch most of this game. I watched some of it, but just the result in its own is a shock for me because I know what that roster looks like for Christos,
Yeah,
and I know what Charlottesville's Blues did last season. So it's like, oh, this is a slap in the face. So this Chesapeake division is going to be fun to watch for sure.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's talk about NPSL because we are covering three teams. We're going to mainly focus on those three teams in that division because, again, selfish reasons, we are covering those teams, and that's going to be Ristosi, obviously Virginia Dreams, the Freudian slip up I had earlier, and um DMV Elite. Anything you want to say before we dive into those? I mean, we can't go through all these games. I mean, we
Well,
played like
I'll
six
I'll
games.
speak on the games or the game that I covered since our last podcast, which was DMV Elite hosting Ristosi. And for me, it was I saw lots of individual moments that really impressed me, and really good fight from both. It was kind of, don't be upset at me, Ristosi or DMV Elite, but by the standards that those two sides, I think I expect, it was sloppy. It was a first game, a first match, and albeit on a kind of a narrower pitch than maybe sometimes we've seen them play, but it turned into like a scrappy dogfight. Ristosi came out on top, really showed their vertical ability towards the end of the match. I think they're going to be a side to watch for sure. DMV Elite as well. There's tons of talent. Love Jake Boyle in goal, his leadership. He's come through Christos, played with Bobcats, and some other names that it's too long to even go down the list. But both those sides are going to be towards the top of the table. But again, I think there's more to come. It's first match of the season. A lot of players either haven't played together or haven't played together in an official league. So it's definitely good to watch that.
Yeah, I mean, the only other results that we missed, so to speak, were uh, DMV Elite tying Frederick 1-1, and then that rough watch. There was the opening of the season.
We already
Virginia.
covered that. I don't even want to. I want to put that in the rear view mirror.
I just need to point it out so the people know it was a 14-0 win for Virginia Dreams over Alexander Rough Diamonds. I just needed to put it out there. I just needed to say it.
Yeah. But that was the one right before the last podcast. That's why,
Right.
because I
Right.
had a whole aside on that.
But we haven't seen Virginia since then. Virginia Dreams since then, right?
But
So
we will see them hosting DMV Elite on Memorial Day or Labor Day weekend next Saturday.
correct.
Everybody else is going to be away on vacation, but I will be in the studio covering the match. Let's do it.
Is it only you? Hold on, we'll talk about that. We'll talk. Don't
I'll
don't
be there.
don't
Yep.
don't send me
Saturday at
down a
5:30.
rabbit hole right now, Noah. All right, let's move on to UPSL. Man, UPSL, it's been in full swing. I mean, we can literally not go in through all the matches, but let's kind of talk through your biggest takes right now on UPSL.
Okay, so I want to talk Virginia primarily. And are you capable to maybe discuss more of the North
Yeah,
if I take the South?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Los Toros on a heater right now. Like it's Los Toros and Lynchburg. Doratus are raising their stock. I don't know if it's going to be too little, too late if they're going to make it into the playoff because there's an interesting playoff sequence. They'll have to occupy one of the top three. I think that we will see them do that, but they still have to keep the momentum. In the DMV South A conference, huge shakeups at the bottom. First off, several teams missed an opportunity to raise their stock. Somehow, Alexander United dropped points to Villarreal. Credit to Villarreal for battling back to a 3-3 draw. But United could have put themselves really close to a playoff spot with a win. They didn't. And North Stars bouncing back from two horrible results in this week with a 3-2 victory over the ASA Reds out of nowhere. I mean, credit to North Stars showing some of their flash of old. A hat trick for Cedric Tacho, but top of the table. That's where there was a big shuffle. Arlington dropped a huge result, 5-1 to
Yeah,
Revolution. Revolution playing about as good as we've ever seen them play. Alexander Dexter firing on all cylinders. Jack Stone doing what Jack Stone does with that physical hold-up play, using those long physical legs to get on the ball and score. And a host of other supporting cast. Aaron Uribe played great in the back. Justin Wilson. But yeah, so Arlington no longer the top of the table there. They are replaced by Virginia Dream, who had a convincing performance against Blazers, 7-0, never left it in doubt. And then so Revolution will now take the second spot. So Arlington drops all the way down to third, but in 2 weeks we'll see Virginia Dream and Virginia Dream and
and
Revolution
yeah,
match up for a crucial battle, which could decide the title, to be honest.
yeah. I mean, first of all, if you haven't watched, there's two matches that's in my head: the Virginia Revolution, Arlington, and the uh, it was Arlington and the game the right when I was away.
Are
Oh
you
my
talking about
goodness.
Arlington versus Virginia Dream?
Thank you, Virginia
Yes.
Dreams. Those two matchups, you should go. Like they weren't high. I think there's
0-0.
maybe, yeah. It was
Yeah.
both
The
games were
best 0
zero
0
zeros.
game you'll see. I mean, it wasn't about, highlight type stuff in terms of goals. But if you are a fan of the tactics and, playing the game the right way and watching, and it's a great venue too for filming. So you can see the tactics and how the teams are putting their pieces around and how they're moving them around in a non-traditional format. Really, really good match to watch for that.
Yeah, for sure. And the VA Revolution in Ireland, that like that's for entertainment, where the other one's a tactical battle. Like those games.
That one opened up. That one opened up like
Yeah.
uh, Castillo and Costa Rica. Also, I meant to mention them because they were really involved as well, and a lot of the.
Yeah, I mean it's good stuff. In the north, it's a little bit of a interesting situation. You know how in the beginning of the season we were hyping up DC hyper, and be that they have found their winning ways again. Though that loss and that draw has had a big impact on them because they're no longer the leading team. They're no longer the untouchables, and um, to surprise of many, I'm gonna say to the surprise of many, they might not like this, but Chiefs United is in the top spot. I mean, in the beginning of the season, like the matches were like a 1-0 win, a 2-0 win. And now they're starting to look very convincing. I mean, their goal differential is still like a two or three goal differential. I can't remember, but like they grind out wins. They absolutely grind out wins, and they're usually not put in a position where it's dangerous, but they eventually find the goal. It just takes them a little bit, and so they've been grinding out wins. On the other side, though, MSI and Touch Kings, who we're very familiar with because they play in the Super Soccer League, uh, very different stories in the Super Soccer League versus in the UPSL. MSI is absolutely we're absolutely cruising, but are now I think it's a loss and then a draw. So could be some problems going here coming here in the future. They sorry, backwards. They started with a loss and a draw, and then now they're on an absolute cruising win. I think they gave Chiefs United their only loss, which was either 2-0 or 3-0, and then they won their previous two. So MSI is starting to climb up. On the other side, Touch Kings is what I meant to say is going down. So where MSI and Touch Kings were neck and neck, Touch Kings are heading down. MSI is heading up, and the other team that I thought was gonna be like killing it was Germantown or Germantown City. I thought they were gonna absolutely be like the second or third seed. I mean, it's not going for them. They just lost to MSI. They just lost to no, they beat Moko, but like it's not a. I thought Germantown, and then they lost to Bridgesports. Like, no offense to Bridgesports, but Bridgeport we're seeing this season isn't the Bridgeport we saw last season when they were absolutely the kings or the shiny new toy. So I mean, the North is
Bridgeport's
open,
been doing
man.
it. Bridgeport's been doing it for a few seasons now, and Bridgeport certainly they're marching back. They had another result this weekend. I think they'll climb up the table. I think MSI's stock is improving. Germantown City, I don't know how to say this without being offensive, but they haven't been a stronger team the last several seasons. So I was more shocked about the start, but also waiting for the other shoe to drop kind of thing. And I
Yeah,
think that's what we're seeing because we're talking about all these teams resurging late, Bridgeport, MSI.
yeah.
But I think we're going to have to see obviously some stock drop. Um, and,
Well,
and I'm not.
Moko,
That's how
Moko's dropping,
that's how it
dropping big
works.
time.
Yeah, it's a zero sum. It's a zero sum game. But I think unfortunately Germantown City is one of those teams. Touch Kings right now they're at a precipice of which way their season is going to go, and it's not looking great. Um, they're going to need to find some leadership on and off the field to kind of right the ship because they've had some struggles too.
I will
Um,
say they did win their last game, so maybe
oh, okay. So
that's
Touch Kings maybe that's the yeah
that
maybe
could
that's
be
the
the
turnaround
like
they need.
they that could be that they're like but again, okay, so I should caveat that they won 4-2 against Rockville. Rockville is having a rough season. So sometimes you need those games, right? Like that you go against a team that's having a worse time than you for you to bounce back and maybe turn things around. So that could have been it. That could have been it for them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um
absolutely. Shout out to Yusuf Berry, my boy at MSI Pro. I think he scored in almost every one of the last several games and has been a huge part of them climbing up the table. But the match to watch out for, I don't think we're covering it. Maybe DC Hyper, if you got a person on here. we're available. We'll find a way
Oh
to
my
be
god, we
available.
need to get that game.
Yeah,
DC Hyper
it's
versus
this
Chiefs
Saturday at
United.
7:30
Oh my
at Edgewood in DC. Oh man, I
brother, I do I have a game Saturday?
no, I think it's just that and Virginia Dream. The only
Brother,
two. Yeah,
you
yeah,
know what?
we
Kang,
got to figure it out.
talk
We'll
to
talk.
DC Hyper.
Yeah,
get
yeah,
us get us there.
we'll get it sorted. But that might just determine, the DMV North, and if it ends in a draw, then the door could be left open for MSI. Um,
To sneak in.
yeah, to sneak in there with they're sitting with a game in hand on Chiefs. They're tied on points to DC Hyper, so yeah, that match is consequential no matter how it ends. It's it's
And
gonna determine everything.
no disrespect to Rockville, but MSI is playing Rockville this Saturday. So
Yeah.
we could be looking at if let's say Hyper and Chiefs tie, we could be looking at MSI sitting at the top of the table. Wild stuff here. Wild stuff happening in the UPSL. But let's turn our attentions to Super Soccer League. We're gonna start with the power rankings. We can talk through the matches here shortly, but we got to talk through power rankings. It's been a while since we've done these, so I think it's fan justice at this point, or fan service at this point, that we talk through them. Let's start with Virginia so that we can do Maryland 1 and 2 at the end. So let's start with Virginia. Uh, do you want to start bottom up or top down?
I want to start bottom down, but I just want to field the question that
Yes.
was in the
The ch-
chat. So yes, UPSL does have playoffs, and they do it kind of on a first. It's within conference level. So the DMV South and the DMV North. DMV South, since it's split between two conferences, those conferences will actually be playing one another. The one seed from B will play the number four seed from A. Three from A plays the number two from B, and number two from A plays the number three from B, and then it goes from there. In the North, I don't know specifically, but I think it's something the same. One plays four, two plays three, or something of the sort. And then it progresses onto a national stage. So yes, there are
well,
playoffs,
regional,
regional, then national.
regional,
Yes,
and then national. But
correct.
yes,
Yes. So with that said, back to the power rankings. So I get to do Virginia, correct?
well, no, we're both gonna do Virginia.
Oh,
We're
both
both
gonna
gonna
do
go through our power rankings. Don't try to steal this from me.
Virginia.
Uh, I need to get my hot takes in here. But my question to you is: do you want to do from 1 to 10 or 10 to 1?
Gotta do 10-1.
All
Build
right,
up
let's do
the
10 to 1. All right, I'm pretty sure um I said 10. I should have said 8 to 1, but I'm pretty sure 8, 7, 6 are going to be the same for us. But you could start. You could start because Virginia is.
I'm I'm gonna choose a team that I really like for their like just their personality and character, but has had some really disappointing results. Spirion gonna start us off as at number 8. I thought that LAIFC were gonna be the most disappointing, um, but they managed a huge result a week ago. We'll talk more on that when we get to them. But Esperion coming off of it was a 10-2 loss to Los Toros. I mean, if there's double digits on the board, there's problems, and they're bottom of the table anyways. But in my power rankings, because of that result, I got to keep them bottom of the power rankings.
Yeah, I mean, double digits results is not. It's tough. It's tough to bounce back from that. So, I would agree. Esperion will be the number 8 in the power ranking. I've seen some moments from them.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to play the 90 minutes. You have to and you have to finish out any close games. And there've been moments like they had an absolute great game against Dorados, who were at that point their stock was going down, but now have kind of rectified that. But Esperion had an opportunity there, and when you get those opportunities, you have to put them away. So, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to put Esperion there. Um, I'm gonna go to number 7 if you don't mind, Noah. For number 7, and you're gonna talk more about them, but is LAI.
Mm-hmm.
LAI. I really thought they weren't going to get any wins this season. Like, no disrespect. I really, just from the early games, I just thought they were going to absolutely have a rough season. I mean, they're still having a rough season, relatively speaking. I mean, they just lost to Virginia Dreams 8-0, but we won't harp on that too much.
Yeah,
But had,
no, that's it. I mean, they raised a little bit with that win against Alexandria United. Alexandria United still so many questions on their consistency
just
because they'll do something so impressive and so unimpressive within the same week with the same players, and it just I guess comes to maturity, consistency, but a lot of high upside. But yeah, LAIFC 7. Um, you want to go for 6 or you want me to?
you can go for 6.
Shake things up because otherwise we're just going to end up going down the table and
No,
I gotta
it's not. It's not. I have. Well, go ahead.
I'm so if we're considering looking at all leagues, I have one answer, right? But if we're ignoring UPSL, right, which North Stars had that huge result, I'm putting North Stars at number 6, coming off a 3-0 loss to Blazers, on the back of a kind of a disappointing sequence of play for them. Um, North Stars, yeah, would their stock is dropping. They're up the table at number 4, but they've played 9 matches, and they have to play Los Toros as their final 10th match. So no small task, to be sure. But that's pretty much their only way into playoffs would be to win this Thursday against Los Toros.
Yeah. Um. I was gonna try to be cute and say Alexandria United, but I mean, when I was looking at the latest results and everything, I couldn't find myself putting them below uh Blazers, just because Blazers hasn't, like, I don't want to go off the table because I'm not going to go off the table, but
Right.
Blazers just,
Yeah.
they have some good moments. Like, I think their win against North Star earlier in the season put me on, like, this is going to be a really good team. And then they go on and beat them again. And I'm like, yeah, convincing. But then
I don't
each
think they
time,
didn't beat they tied North Stars earlier in the season.
right, sorry, they tied. It was a 5
Yeah.
5 tie. You're right. You're right. But every time they played North Star, they're followed up by Virginia Dreams. And both times it
Yeah.
has been either a 6 or 7-1 or a 7-0 victory for Virginia Dreams. And then they
But
kind
see,
of
now we're
just,
cheating. Now we're count. Although, okay, yes, that was a UPSL that counted as a. Yep. Okay. Fair enough. You're right. I was thinking that UPSL contest, but no,
no,
yeah,
no, it counted here. Counted
yeah,
here. No,
yeah,
I'm going
yeah.
off of what's reported on our website, right?
That's
And
fair.
then
Yep.
obviously the loss of Los Toros. So it's just like, uh, uh, right now, as we talk, like, they've only really beat North Star, right? And if you want to move up the power rankings, you got to take either play the big teams better or just close out the games that are for the lower ranking teams that you have to be sure of.
Yeah.
So I'm
That-
just gonna say our Blazers.
yeah. Blazers have a must-win tomorrow against LAIFC. That's a. Are we allowed to say the toilet bowl? But it really for
Not the toilet bowl, is it's oh, I can't think of a saying right now, but
we're
I get
going
what
with
you.
toilet bowl then. If you can't think of it.
Oh, unfortunately.
No, it's not. I mean, the competition really does matter. I mean, that's going to determine seedings at the end of the season, and it is an important match. But
Okay.
tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Let's keep it moving up the table. I'm
Let
gonna
me go next. Let me
go.
go next. I'm gonna go North Star. I'm gonna go North Star
I didn't even
in
get a number
the
5 though.
what?
I did. I chose. I chose um, North Stars as my number 6, but I didn't get to do.
What?
Oh wait, never mind. Are we? Which number are we at?
We're on 5, my guy.
Oh, go ahead.
We're on 5. I'm going North Star for number 5. I mean, if we look at their last 5 games, no, forget it. Let's look at their last 6 games to make it better for them.
Yeah.
They've played LAI, Blazers, Dorados, North, Esperion, Virginia Dreams, and Blazers. Right. Of those six games, they've only taken points against Esperion and LAI. Like that's there's nothing else that needs to be said besides that.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm going Blazers. I mean, because yeah, great win against North Stars, an ailing North Stars. But what else have you done for me? They did take points against Doratus early in the season. They took points from North Stars at another point. But again, coming off a 7-0, just absolute domination by Virginia Dream and some other disappointing ones. Yeah, it's a no brainer. Um, let's move up the table where it gets a little bit interesting.
Does it? It
Um,
kind of gets boring.
well, yeah, you're right. I see. Here's the thing. I want to put Alexandria United higher because of their recent performance in the Super League was really, really strong. They beating Doratus, in fine fashion. But I think,
They lost to
mathematically
LAI.
speaking, was that?
But then the week before they lost to LAI. I
Yeah,
can't.
exactly.
I
But
can't with
even
you.
mathematically speaking, Doratus is not going to be caught. So we do have to honor the table somewhat. If no matter if you're playing like, you know, Liverpool or whatever, you can't score 6 points from one game. So it's got to be Alexandria United as my 4 seed. I do think they'll sneak into playoffs though. I think they're going to get ahead of North Stars.
Oh, me too. I agree. So for me, I'm just gonna rip off the rest of the band-aid because it's gonna be Alexander United, Doratus, Los Toros, and Dream. Nothing
Yeah.
makes sense besides that. Like
Yep.
it really doesn't make sense. I mean, honestly, Los Toros and Dream are probably the only ones that like one of those two teams are going to be the ones that win the team. The last time those two teams faced off, it was a 3-3 tie. I mean, really, it could go 1A, 1B, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Dream are going to keep the 1 seed just because they have the advantage with goal differential. Neither of those teams is going to drop points. So, unless Toros have some more 10-2 games, more than Virginia Dream, anyways, then I think that makes the most sense to Radis. They'll want to kind of shore things up, but they've earned the points they have, and they'll go in as a 3 seed. It'll be another. I feel like every year it's somehow Virginia Dream, Alexandria United in the first round of playoffs. But Alexandria United, they find a way. They don't beat Dream. I don't think I can recall them beating Dream, but they keep it really close, and it does
Well,
speak
yeah.
to their potential. In terms of how they're coached, their tactical. Because on paper, no offense, but there's this clearly better side. But the game consistently has been pretty close, if not even a draw a couple times last season. So yeah, that'll be something to look forward to. I guess that means we can move north now.
Wait, hold on. I do want to say one quick thing. So Virginia Dream's regular season ends on June 10th, if I'm not mistaken, against LAI. Before that, they play Doratus on the 21st, right?
Hmm.
Los Toros also only has two games left, one against North Star on the 22nd, and then Esperion on the 29th. That's it for those two. And then we'll see them. I mean, honestly, there's no way in God's green earth that these two teams don't face off in the final. And it's the last time, as I just mentioned, the last time these two teams met was a 3-3. So now we're talking about a final where two teams that tied 3-3 are going to face that final. Like, I'm counting what is it, counting my ducks before they hatch or whatever the saying is before it happens. But that's what's
Counting
going to
the
happen. And it's such an
Yeah,
exciting final.
yeah.
I
It
am looking forward to it.
I'll take that. I mean, if someone else can upset the balance and earns their way into the final, I mean, credit and kudos, and then that's something we'll be talking about. But until we're proven otherwise, yeah, I'm looking forward to Los Toros, Virginia Dream, to just sort out Virginia, and then we'll get to see the Super Cup final against Maryland.
Yep.
Um, can we start with Division 2 before we get into Division 1?
Yes, I was
or
ready to
did
go
you want to
Division.
go
No, no,
straight?
no, no. We can do Division Two. Let's start
Yeah,
Division Two because Division Two is juicy right now for many reasons. Yeah,
certainly is.
let's do Division Two. We'll start the same. We'll start at the bottom. I mean, honestly, I could kind of go 7-6 off the bat. Like, if you don't mind, I'm just
Go
gonna go
ahead.
per NPC and Peru United. I like Peru United. NPC. There's nothing to be said about NPC. I mean, they're not they're not having a great season, and
I
it.
will. I will say something, but
I'll go for it.
I'm putting here's controversies. Let's get the controversies in early. Peru United is going to be my number 7. NPC is going to
What?
be 6 because NPC just came off a huge result where they drew points with Slacha, and I have seen good things. I remember NPC last season; they were as strong as they were also at the end of the season. It's going to be too late. Doesn't matter. Those are my two teams missing playoffs. I don't think it's going to change a whole lot, but there's this NPC side. It's a young group, and they seem to get better. They seem to pick up some faces along the way, and they're going to shock some teams. We already saw Slancha dropping points to NPC. Peru United, they started off with so much hype. I loved the fan support. I loved what they were doing. It seemed like, they had all, but I just haven't seen the results. So that's why I have NPC as my number 6 and Peru as
That's fair. I was kind of going off of some recency bias when they just played NPC and they beat them 3-1. So I was like,
yeah, no, that's equal and possibly even a better argument than mine. I just had to be contrarian.
I, no, because like I mean, at the end of the day, that's not their most recent match. Their most recent match is against the very same team that NPC just tied, and they lost 5-0. So I mean, you know. And then also Peru United took some points away from Etihad and Baltimore City, so that's kind of why I went with Peru United for number 6. But NPC for me, I just you have no wins, like no disrespect at all. You have two great ties that you have under your belt that you got points off of, but yeah, Peru United for me is in number 7. Do you want to go number? Or sorry, not number 7. Number 6. Do you want to go number 5?
Yeah, let's throw some more controversy in here. Touch Kings.
God, I didn't think they were gonna drop that bad. But go for it. Go for it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Look,
Do it.
I I need to be proven that this Touch Kings side is serious. I need to be proven that they're able and willing to honor commitments, to manage their player pool properly, and to show up for games. I mean, I don't care how good you are at your best when you're dropping and losing games. Was it 10-1?
10-1.
10-1 with 7 players to start the game. That I'm sorry, that's going to drop you down my power rankings. Like, prove me otherwise. I know what the highs look like for Touch Kings, and it's a side that we were talking about winning the league. For a couple of weeks, they were the best looking side out there. But for whatever reason, players have not made it a priority to make it to game day. Um, and so that's what we're looking at. I mean, they still have 13 points, on 7 matches. They still have somehow a 0 goal differential, even after a 10-1, um, you know, drubbing. But I need to see them pull it together. Otherwise, they're going to just keep falling down the actual table down to my power rankings. So yeah, that's who I got at number 5.
I was not ready for that. That completely threw me off. So Touch Kings, just for some transparency points. Touch Kings' last 2 games were against Etihad. This is wild. This just goes to show your point. By the way, the first game was on May 4th. They won 4-0. They
Yeah,
had a full roster. The last game they had, which was on the 18th, which was a Sunday, yesterday, they lost 10-1. That's that's crazy. For me, I'm gonna throw a little bit of controversy out there, and I'm going to go Etihad. I'm going Etihad. Like no disrespect, they just had this was their first win of the season against Touch Kings, and what a huge win it was. I don't want to take any points away from that. But honestly, Etihad has played um I think the only game for me that was like really, really impressive was that first game against MSI where they went 4-3, and that was a great performance for them. Besides that, it's they take points. They tied with Peru United, they tied with NPC, then they lost 4-0 to Touch Kings, and then they go and do this 10-1 win against a 9-man Touch Kings. It, I don't. There's not much to go off of there, right? Like, I thought Etihad, based on the summer cup or the winter cups, they were going to come in as a very strong team, but they just haven't lived up to that for me,
Yeah.
and that's why they're going in the fifth seed for me.
Yeah.
All right,
All right.
for number four.
Number four. Well, I am going to put Idiad in my number four. You know, one could make the argument I should be enforcing the same criteria for MSI that I have for Touch Kings, but MSI have not forfeited. Even in the match where they did not have enough players, they still found a way to, in a really messy looking game, they still kept Slancha to four, which with a depleted squad, not even enough players to start, that speaks something to their fight. But MSI are right now they're on notice for me. I weirdly enough their stock is helped by what I've seen from Baltimore City. We'll talk on them in a little bit, but that
That
draw that draw against MSI is starting to look more like good Baltimore City versus bad MSI. So I'm Itihad is number four, but Itihad, shout out to Itihad because they show that what happens when you just show up every week ready to play. You know, and they do have good players. I don't mean to make it like they have no talent or
no,
anything,
no, no,
but
of course not.
they're playing in a tough league and they're consistently showing up. And then they got their moment and they were ready. They weren't like, oh, let's take it easy. No, when someone shows you weakness or whatever in a
You go
competitive
for it.
league, it's not a recreational league. Go get your goals, man. Go if you want to, play rec league and stuff. Yeah, of course you should take it easy, stop scoring. But no, we're playing to win. There's promotion on the line. So credit to Idihead for showing up and taking their points.
I love the organization, right? Like they're always there. They're always a full roster. They like everything they do. I love what Etihad's got going on. It's just the results having gone their way when it's opponents that matter, right?
Yeah,
The NPCs and the Peru Uniteds. Like, no disrespect to them, but they're not the top of the table. So like when you can get results, if like let's say that 4-0 wasn't 4-0 against a full squad Touch King and it was a 4-2, Etihad would be here for me. But unfortunately they're not. And I'm going MSI. I'm going to MSI solely, solely on the fact that they've tied twice with Baltimore City. That's
yeah,
literally the only reason they're going. Like MSI still has a lot to prove for me. They still have to show up. I mean, I, MSI came in for me as one of the potential teams to win this league, and they haven't shown me that. So I need to see a lot more from MSI.
yeah. That's fair. That's 100% fair. So
All right, number three. That's
number
where I put
three,
you.
I've already said my piece on MSI. That's my number three. So I'll get that out the way. Um,
Hold on, let me say my number three before you go number two, because I think number two, one and
no,
two
that's what I
might.
was. I'm landing for you. Yeah, I'm done. My three.
Um, I I should have put Touch Kings on four and MSI in three, but I'm here now and I'm going Touch Kings four. Or sorry, three. They should have been a lot lower for me just because of the recent results, but I'm gonna give them a little break because it's only one bad result that's still negated by their early season performances. I mean, they just beat Etihad before this awful performance, but then they had the forfeit against Baltimore City. So it's like it's tough. It's really tough, man. Touch Kings, they just need to get off the field stuff together because we know what they can do on the field, and that's why it's tough for me. But I'm gonna have to go with them in the third place.
That's fair. Number
Oh
two and number
man,
one is
this is right.
especially interesting because obviously the recent result skews and recent results, if you factor in MSI, skews towards Baltimore City, but 18 goal differential for Slancha is hard to ignore. And the 14 points, top of the table. Baltimore City, I'm still going to put you as number two, but it is like this, the number two. I mean, they have done everything that they could do to get up the table. I'm just not ready to replace Slancha yet because I think this is a huge wake up call for the Slancha side that really has promotion on their agenda, maybe more so than anyone else could, with knowing that feeling of defeat, at being right there for promotion and not getting it. I still, it's Slanch's title to lose. They've been put on full notice. This next result, is going to mean a lot for me. If they drop points, if they don't come out with a resounding victory, I don't even know who their opponent is. I don't care. I don't care. If they don't come out with a resulting victory, putting Baltimore City up for my number one because Slancha need to pick it up.
Their next opponent is Etihad. Then on June 15th, it's Baltimore City.
Oh man,
That game is so
we got to find a way to
huge.
get. First off, I hope the game is early in the day.
It's 11 a.m.
Yes,
That
let's
game
go.
is so
I will be
huge.
there. I will find a way to be there. My friends, my friends.
That game is so huge now. And then they end their season with Etihad on June 22nd. Baltimore City, on the other hand, uh, faces Peru United, Etihad, and June 15th is
Yep.
their final match.
Oh man, this is gonna be great. Who made this schedule? Who made this?
I don't know, some evil person out here.
That is too good. Oh, that is beautiful. So keep in mind there are two promotion spots, but only one of which will be fully decided by the regular season. The next four after the number one will go into a playoff, and so that leaves room for MSI, Touch Kings, even Itihad, all to get their stuff and go hot right into playoffs. But as far as who's going to take the title, I think it's a two-legged race right now for me,
Yeah,
Baltimore City and Slancha.
for me too. And I'm gonna my ranking is not what Noah's ranking is. That's a teaser, and it's going. I'm forgetting everything that's happened this whole season, and for me, I'm just going to look at these two matches. And um, June 15th hasn't happened, so I can't go off of that. So I can only go off of May 19th or 18th. That's all that matters because these are the only two teams in my mind that are going to win this title outright. I don't think Touch Kings are going to figure it out. They'll probably figure it out in the postseason.
Yeah.
MSI is starting to come up, which they'll probably figure out in the playoffs.
Yep.
So for me, Baltimore City and Slancha are the teams. And the two teams from Baltimore City fighting out for the Division 2 title and the automatic promotion is so juicy. And Slancha's gonna hate me for what I'm about to say right now, but because I'm basing it solely on this result, Slancha is in the number 2 spot for me.
Fair.
And
Fair.
that's all I can say. Everything else doesn't matter because this is going to be the rivalry that determines who moves up to Division 1.
Wow.
So,
Everything on the line. I can't wait. And everything we talked about with Touch Kings and MSI, um, and how they prioritize the league, and they haven't. Baltimore City, they took basically the wake up call at the beginning of the season where maybe they weren't prioritizing the league as we would have liked to see. And I think I've seen a different player pool. Some of the players the same, but the players that are in are bought in fully. They're doing the right things. They're supporting the team, and they've got some new pieces and really shaking things up. Isaiah is one of the players, and there's some others. But yeah, credit to Baltimore City. Um, Again, they're my number two, but they're so close to being number one, and it kind of comes down to what they do, but it even more so Slancha. I'm giving them one last chance. Save that number one seed.
Yeah, Sanche is number two for me. Baltimore City is number one, just on this game alone. Everything else has gone out the window because it's going to come down for me. It's going to come down to those two. But all right, let's move on to Division One.
Yes.
Division One. Oh, I'm so upset about Division One. Um, does nothing make sense in Division One? All right, let's start in the bottom of the table, and probably the only one that makes sense for me, and that's Baltimore Kickers. The only consistency I've had in this division is Baltimore Kickers.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I
sorry
want to be
Kickers.
controversial with this one because I think there's a team that's playing worse than Baltimore Kickers right now, and has issues, just based on results. But I don't know that Baltimore Kickers are going to kick and kiss, not kiss or kick, catch anyone at this point with their
English
single
language,
point.
man.
They're 8 points behind anyone. So I mean, I'll still put Baltimore Kickers. I just wanted to put that asterisk that I think actually Baltimore Kickers are still playing at like a consistency level. Like they're a team that shows up, and it has to be commended, right? Because they don't forfeit. They don't even show up with like just 11 guys. Like they show up with a team and they stay in the game. For most of these matches, they've been close results. Even against Pulse, they were there. They were there in the match.
I mean, you bring up a great point. I mean, I'm looking at all their results, and I think the only result that's really been a like a runaway train was the game against Bullies where they lost 6-0. Besides that, it's a
Yeah,
two
yeah.
nil, 2-2, 2-0. You know what, man? You're kind of trying to convince me to put Ambition as
Well, there's
number.
6 games left.
That's
Who are,
true. That's so
who are they
true.
getting? Who are they playing? Is it possible? Could
It's
they could
so
they go
true.
and could they sneak away out
Well,
of
they have 4 games left. Um, Baltimore Kickers do.
four? Yeah,
Because
sorry, I don't know where I got six.
because
Math is hard.
they've played. I think they no, well they haven't played the most, but they do have 8 games that they've played, and of those 8 games, they finish out Team United, Bullies, Das Beer Hall, Ambition. That Ambition game, that I'm circling that game. That is a who's going down to Division Two game.
Well, for me, I,
Well,
I just did the I just did the math. No, I just did the math. As much as I'd like it to be that, um, I don't see Baltimore Kickers. Let's say Ambition drop all their games and drop in a bad way with points, goal differential, all that. Do you see Baltimore Kickers as consistent as they've been? Do you see them beating Bullies? Do you see them beating Beer Hall? Do you see them beating Team United with the form that Team United has shown
that's true.
recently? I don't. So I'm gonna keep Baltimore Kickers at number 7. But props Kickers. I know that's a attaboy, but I do like this, and it's not a side that's gone quietly into the night. They're still fighting, but
Yeah,
hey, it's not
that's.
impossible.
I
It's
mean,
not impossible.
if Baltimore steals any results, because I'm gonna be frank, I'm just gonna tell you, Ambition is in the number 6 seat for me, but not by much. I don't think Ambition gets any points for the rest of the season against Das Beer Hall, against A3, against Steel Pulse, even against Baltimore Kickers. I don't think they get any points because of the turmoil that they have going on, where everything that was great about them is now gone, I think. And that's sad because Ambition was such a good team. And then in the last two, no, correction, in the last 3 games, that has all dissipated. And that's unfortunate. And
Yeah.
that's sad. And Baltimore Kickers is the one consistency in this league. So if the soccer, you know, I don't want to say soccer gods, but if those that like to shape stories in the soccer world Kickers a win against any of those Team United Bullies or Das Beer Hall. Well, they need two more. Never mind.
They need 3.
Well, I'm saying so they're gonna for me they're gonna beat Ambition. They would need 2 points. They would need 2 wins from one of those. I mean, hell, if they beat Team United and Das Beer Hall, you deserve to.
What if Bullies go to sleep? I don't know. I'm just saying.
Anything could be possible. But yeah, unfortunately, those two are the bottom of the table for me, or the bottom of the power rankings.
Yeah.
This is where it gets interesting. I want to know your number five.
I want to know my number 5 too. Uh, I feel bad doing this. You go first.
No,
If you
because I
look,
know what you're gonna do, and I'm probably doing the same thing. Oh
are you
no,
looking at results? Because I'm.
no, I already know who I'm going based on current form.
Yeah. I
Oh, that
mean,
sucks. I for me it's A3.
yeah. That's the reason I have to do it is because I'm looking A3 to their credit. They take care of the teams they should be taking care of. They beat
100%.
the Ambitions. They beat the Kickers. You know, they've they've done well, but I can't find one, impressive, like really impressive result. And they've dropped most recently to Team United. Um, so I've got to go Three Highlanders. It's just that's what the data is telling me.
Yeah, that same here. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is that this division doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense because A3 is such a good team. Like they perform well. They keep every game close. Like there's not a game I'm looking at. I'm like, oh my god, they got blown out. No, the Bullies game
Yep.
was a 1-0 game. I mean, yeah. It sucks to say, but yeah, it's for me. It's A3, and then above them is Team United. Just off of that 5-2 win against A3. To be honest.
Yeah. Team United, they're going to be, um, yeah, they'll be my number 4. Um, and it's a close number 4 because Team United really is playing well right now.
They sure are.
But I know Beer Hall. They've been around as Beer Hall. A lot of those guys played as Academy FC before that. This is a side that knows how to last the duration of a season, how to manage games. So I don't think Team United are going to pass Beer Hall. Um, so yeah, pretty simple. Team United are 4. Beer Hall take my bronze medal as the number 3. Do you see anything different?
No, Beer Hall takes it. I mean, Beer Hall does have sorry, 6 games that they have to see out. Which is the most of anybody. They have a game against Bowlies on Wednesday 21st, and then they do A3, Ambition, Steel Pulse, Kickers, and Team United. That Team United game is probably going to be super crucial for placements. But I don't think um Das Beer Hall is going to be in a situation where they can get leapfrogged. I don't think. I mean,
No.
I'm thinking they lose Bullies, they win A3, they win Ambition, lose Steel Pulse, win um Baltimore, right? So then that I feel like that's still a must-win game against Team United, but yeah, it's a long one.
Let's talk 2-1. Let's do 2-1.
So for me,
Oh, oh. I gave this rundown to my dad about this matchup, and my dad gets excited following. He's come to know Steel Pulse over the years. They're the hot name in this area in Baltimore, and I was selling Bowlies. I was selling Bowlies for all that they've done, all the players they've added, how they run the organization, and I'm still sold. Bowlies, the stock is rising, and their trajectory is looking good. I think the future is bright. But I put this huge caveat to my dad when I was talking about this matchup. I said, there's lots to be so excited about with Bowlies. There really is. This is a team that, does things right and they show up consistently, defensively. They're everything that Steel Pulse is not. But do not count out Steel Pulse. This is a side that has world class level talent at its disposal. It's about when can they summon them? When can they get them to get show up and not just show up, but show up as a fighting force that is, unified and playing at their highest level. When that happens, they're nigh unbeatable in the Super League. And we saw something like that show up on Sunday. There were some cracks in the armor in terms of the discipline arena, but as far as skill, 2-0 against Bowlies. That speaks for itself.
I mean, when you're talking about a team that has Yusuf Naziri, Ramsey Hassan, Jude, and
The
um,
Arizumana.
Diarra Zumana, uh, like,
Did
oh man,
did Musa Kande play?
Musakande did not play.
Okay, I don't think he's with them anymore.
Yeah, he has moved on to the neighbors down south, I think.
Yeah. Although I don't
Um,
think the I don't think the transfer has been approved. So
well,
he
I don't mean for this league. I don't think.
yeah. Wanted to be clear, very clear on that.
Right. The
You
transfer
never know
has
who's
not been
watching, who's listening.
official in the Super Soccer League, but it is been. I'm sure we're gonna see him play either UPSL or NPSL for Virginia. Anyways, yeah, I mean, Bowley's like I honestly thought this was gonna be the game that Bowley's was gonna smack Steel Pulse to wake up. Like I was gonna, this was gonna be the game that was gonna light a fire under Steel Pulse for me, and I, I thought Bowlies were gonna do it, and just it wasn't a bad game. It was just the there was a little bit left for me in terms of coaching. Like I'm gonna tell you this, Noah, and I just people pay attention to Noah's reaction. They were trying through balls to Texador.
Why?
That's what I'm
Why?
saying.
That's
Speed is
that's what
never
he
gonna
does.
work. Speed is never going to work against Steel Pulse. Like
And
never.
Texidor has the skill to work in space and work in tight areas and try to
Right.
like yeah yeah, Steel Pulse, there's a lot of questions of their back line in terms of set pieces, in terms of, just shape, but speed has never been a question of Steel Pulse in
Yes.
any facet of their game. That has not been that's not been an
So
issue.
I'm like, no, man, come on, you gotta work it, cause like that's how you're gonna get them. You're gonna get them sleeping. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. And Steel Pulse did. They did do the way they were switching the game. Like it was, they were just dragging Dr. Zumana, pulling in defenders, and then just a one big switch, and they were on. And of
Do
course, speed.
there's one X factor for the next time. It's coming up on us in a couple weeks. The rematch, Steel Pulse and Bowlies. Will Ben Stitz make an appearance for Bowlies again? Because Ben Stitz made one appearance for Bowlies against the new Team United. And I say the new Team United because Team United had a really good start to this match against Bowlies. And
Hmm.
the result obviously went against them 4-1, or sorry, 4-0. But three of those goals were Ben Stitz. One of them, an unreal shot from 56 yards out that basically clipped the underside of the crossbar, screaming on a line drive. I mean, it's a cheat card right there. If Ben Stitz plays against Pulse, it's very much game on. And I'm sure Pulse should and probably will bring, all their,
If they
horses
don't,
in their stable.
if they don't bring the same squad, obviously they can't because uh
Jude.
yeah, Jude's disciplinary stuff. Um and Jude was such a good piece for them too. Oh, that's so upsetting. I'm not even like, I'm a neutral in this world, but like just seeing a player of that caliber do something like that and then get the red card is just like, why, my guy? You guys are winning. You're playing so well. Don't understand it. But yeah, so unfortunately, if they don't bring a team at this caliber, it's going to Bullies. That's as simple as it gets. And from the conversations I've had with the Steel Pulse camp, they know this. They know that every game from here on out is a must win because of the forfeit they had, and they just need to figure it out.
Agreed.
Noah's eating everyone. All right.
Bread.
We are good. Do you want to dive into any games, or do we call it?
I think this week we do have, some fun midweek stuff. Maybe more on the midweek than we do on the weekend, which is, you know, not usual. Tuesday, doubleheader in the Super Soccer League Virginia. Wednesday, we obviously have Foley's Das Beer Hall as a consequential matchup. Virginia Dream Doratus. Honestly, not much to be said there. I think Dream continues smooth sailing. Doratus, they've already got their third spot, so it's interesting, but it's not. I'm not going to use must watch for that one.
Yeah.
Um, Thursday, Los Toros versus North Stars. This one I'd put higher on my echelon of matches to watch because North Stars, this is their last gasp at a chance for playoffs. Los Toros are Los Toros, so that's enough to watch in any case. They're exciting. They're vertical. They fight hard. They have so much talent. But North Stars should be at their best that we've seen, and North Stars ceiling very high. So that's one to watch. But Wednesday we also have the USL, and that is Patuxent taking on Linesbridge.
That's right.
Yeah, that one's good. Catch that one over on Sports Engine. Oh, I know what I need to talk about. Saturday, DMV Elite, Virginia Dream, WPSL, and USLW.
Oh yeah, that's right. We forgot to
Like,
cover that. We are
I'm
covering the
so
women's game.
yes,
Oh,
we're
I'm so
covering the
sorry.
women's game. That is terrible of us. We're not ending until we recap those matches. I'm
All
gonna
right.
let you go. Tell me about the Patuxent USLW match, and also if there were any players that stood out to you. What were your takeaways from the game?
Well, so I'm not gonna dive into players because there was a lot of players that are still figuring out. And then if I do highlight players, it's not gonna be for Patuxent, so I don't want to do a disservice.
Fair enough.
Actually, that's a lie. I do want to highlight their captain. Oh my goodness, why am I drawing a blank? Waterman. Waterman was fantastic. She's a center back. I mean, she every time there was an attack on or a corner, she was the one clearing it out. She was the one winning the 1v1s. I mean, she was absolutely her and Richardson, the goalkeeper for Patuxent. Those two, if they weren't having the games they had, it would have been an absolute blowout because Inferno or Lancaster Inferno were absolutely killing it with the possession. They were moving the ball. They didn't have a problem taking in the pressure. They would just play around the strikers, and then they would move forward. And I mean, honestly, it was fantastic to watch. Like the way they moved it, but the defense for Patuxent, specifically those two, are what kept them alive. And there was a slight change in tactics for Patuxent that applied such huge results. Um, I'm drawing a blank on the forward's name, but she had such a crucial role against Infernos to change, like, because like honestly, Noah, like majority of the games it was Patuxent under pressure, Patuxent under pressure, Patuxent under pressure until they made some substitutions, and it worked out very well for them. And I mean, to be honest, if it wasn't for that, I I, I don't know what we could have been. We could have saw like a pretty bad score line, to be honest. That was the Patuxent game. They ended up losing. It was 3-0, I think.
Mm-mm. So in WPSL, we had the privilege of covering Arlington, both their red and blue team. The blue is the returning side that went undefeated in the WPSL Mid Atlantic Conference. Some fantastic standout performers, but the shocking result. I thought blue and red matched up on Saturday, and I thought it was going to be the incumbent side that's played together. They're going to just take red to school. it was not the case. It was a 2-1 match. It was really, really level affair. And Red actually were victorious. So the new players that Arlington has brought on for their second, their
The red.
additional, I want to call it a second team, WPSL team, really, really, really showed. And so it's going to be interesting to watch. I still have to learn the faces and the players a little bit before I can speak intelligently about some of those new players. But the red blue side went on to fall to Alexandria Reds the next day, a 2-1 performance. But there's lots of good stuff happening with the women's game down in the Virginia South.
I got the player's name. I didn't want to be a disservice. Olivia Benzinging. She was absolutely so huge for them, to turn around the play. But I just wanted to throw that in there before that.
You jogged my memory because Elise McDonald and Olivia Stafford played really well for the Blue. um, I do want to find the name of the players who scored for Red because she had a really strong match. But did you have any other points while I find that?
No, just to make sure that you do hit that subscribe button because we are now growing into the women's game. So you should definitely check it out. The next Patuxent match, I don't want to do a disservice to the WPSL. So please remind the folks when they can watch the next WPSL. But the next USLW, which you can catch on Sports Engine, is going to be on the 28th at 6 p.m.
Excellent. And so it was Mary and Maddie Za, I assume sisters, who had a really strong performance for the Red. Number 10, it was Mary Za who scored and was involved in pretty much all of the goal creation. But also their goalkeeper, Emily McBride, in the first half had some unreal saves, which kept them in the game to the point where they were able to come and score the second goal and then take the 3 points. All credit to the Red.
There you go. There you go. And did you already agree to CJ? I see that you agreed. So that means we'll be live next Monday.
It means we will be live Monday. Yes, I guess I meant no more Mondays off. Yeah, I guess I did agree. So yeah, I'm ready to commit to that. I will have to take the Monday after that off because I'll be on an airplane or traveling down a dirt road in Nicaragua. But other than that, no more Mondays off.
We'll figure out. We'll maybe we can get a sub. Probably not, but maybe I can bring in a guest.
Yeah,
CJ.
that I will not be
CJ.
offended. Bring in a guest. By the way, talk to Alfred. Alfred's doing well for the people. Looking out for Alfred. Alfred will be back potentially in August. Potentially, Alfred. If you get a chance to watch any of these shows, we miss you. I'll keep writing you. People miss you, but Alfred is alive and well. He's ready to be back.
Sweet. Perfect. What better way to end tonight's episode than with that? Do make sure you hit that subscribe, like, comment. This week is a little bit thinner with the games, but we still have plenty of them. So do make sure you check them all out. Yes.
One more thing. Sorry. Shout out to the Aegean Hawks and Yins and Los Toros marching on in APL. Petrolero bowed out early, but put a strong spirited performance against the Hawks. The Hawks looking about as good as we've seen them. They're at their best. They're great. For me, Los Toros, they're the favorite to win the APL. They have done, most recently and several times throughout. But I think it's going to come down to Los Toros and Hawks, if I'm honest. But just wanted to put that out there.
That's a juicy matchup. I'll tell you
that
much. There you go. All right, everyone. Have a good evening. Again, subscribe, like, comment, hit that noti bell because then you can get all the games that we've been talking about. We'll see you all Monday, apparently. Have a good one.